Hi guys, so today we are going to take a closer look at the miniatures that are in Tomb of Annihilation. We did an unboxing about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and you guys have been asking, and we're going to deliver all of the miniatures inside this box are the premium painted miniatures, and so here we are today with a close-up shot of each of these miniatures so you can get a really good look at what actually comes inside this box. All right, let's go. All right, so first we have the Batiri goblins. I'm gonna go in order of the figure reference sheet that came with the book and with the game. So these are the Batiri goblins. They have pretty cool looking hair, and they're all painted pretty much the same. They are very small creatures, so it's actually kind of impressive that they have as much detail on this painting that they do, but they're not particularly amazing paint jobs, but that's nice just to have them pretty much already all taken care of. So next up we have the Vegapygmies. These guys don't have a lot of detail on them, but they are lean, green, mean fighting machines, I suppose. I'll know more once we actually fight them, but they are, again, small minis. They are monsters of small size, so they are very tiny, and I imagine it was pretty hard to paint these. They don't have any specific eyes or anything, like they're very simply painted. So these are the Zorbos, which I thought were tiny bears, baby bears at first, but they're not. They're Zorbos. These guys are pretty much just brown, multicolored bears, or at least that's what they look like. However, they do have blue painted eyes. I don't know if you guys can tell, but you can see that they have a blue tint to the eyes, which is a nice little detail that they added in for this. And again, you get 3 in the box, and they're all painted pretty much the same. All right, so who doesn't love a good Velociraptor? These are very small Velociraptors, but I think that the paint job on this is the next level up compared to some of these other guys. They have a very nice green top and sort of brownish bottom. I kind of set them up so that you guys can see multiple angles as we go around here. They are tiny miniatures as well, but they do have some very nice detailing on some of, with little speckles on their backs, and they look really, really nice. If you have a reason to have dinosaurs in your campaign, you might as well as have awesome looking dinosaurs in your campaign. So yeah, so those are the Velociraptors. All right, now we're going to get to some of the regular size minis. These are the Choltan zombies, and these guys came and they look pretty well painted. However, you will notice as I turn this that the one on the right hand side is slightly bent forwards versus his compatriots who are standing a little more upright. I think he got bent in the box, but it kind of just looks like he's lunging, so I may not fix him. It doesn't seem to be detrimental to the play of the game, but he is leaning a bit more forward than his friends, his other zombie friends are. But they have some very nice details. I like the necklaces. Like they're pretty great looking minis overall. All right, so next up are these really cool looking skeletons. You always have a reason to have skeletons. I can't think of a reason why you wouldn't want to have potential for skeletons. These will probably get a lot of use, not just in this game, but in other games. I really love their armor. I think their armor looks really cool, and they are double sword or double dagger wielding, but obviously you can use any stat block you want if you're playing outside of this game. And you can see that they have some very nice detail to their sort of their belts and to the armor themselves. That gives it a little extra value add for sure. Like they look really great. And I've already used them in another game that I play in, so they look really nice. So this is what they call the skeleton key. He is maybe the leader of the skeletons. He has a fancy hat. Pretty much the rest of him is exactly the same. He's carrying 2 knives. He has the same armor. He has the same sort of back. He is leaning forward, similar to how the zombie was leaning forward. I think he got bent in travel. I'm trying to decide if I really want to try to mess with him too much just in case he breaks, but I do like the way that he looks. He's definitely going to be a fun mini to have on hand when I need a super zombie. I mean, a super skeleton, sorry. But yeah, I think he looks pretty nice. So these are Sioux monsters, and they look, when I first looked at them, I thought that they reminded me of flying monkeys from Wizard of Oz, except without the wings and a little more scary. They have very nice detailing in the modeling of them, the pieces, the miniatures themselves, but less so of the detailed paintwork. Like, they're all right. They're not gonna be sort of standouts for me personally, but if they're your bag, then that's cool. They do seem to be all painted very, very much the same. These are probably pretty easy to paint. I wish that they had done a little bit more, since they took so much time to make sure that they have sort of detail on their coats or their legs and things. So, you know, they're pretty good. They're pretty good though. So we got super lucky. You're only supposed to get 3 fire newts, and as someone pointed out, we actually ended up with 6, so there's a lot of dudes on this platform right now. They are all the same, they're all fire newts, but yes, we ended up getting 6 instead of 3. But they are painted the same. You can see they have really cool little armor on their on their arms. And it's pretty nice. I like the way that they're painted. They have a lot of shininess to them, which one would probably expect from a newt of some variety, and you can see they're actually holding fireballs in their hands as well, because they're going to be attacking with fire. That makes sense, because they're fire newts. So we have this plethora now of really awesome looking fire newts at our disposal for whatever we might need fire newts for. And it is kind of cool that we got extra ones that don't typically come in the box. All right, so next up we have the Yuan-ti Brood Guard. These guys remind me in their painting style of the velociraptors that we saw earlier. They have darker tops and then the sort of orangey bottoms, or sort of undercoats. They look really nice. There's a lot of detail in the models themselves. There's, you know, scales that really stand out. You could probably put another wash on this just to make it pop a little bit more. But for a pre-painted miniature, they came out really, really nice. And they none of their tongues were broken. Like, they're really excellent models. So I had to zoom all the way out for this, guys. This is the stone Juggernaut, which I'm gonna set a regular size model next to it for size scale. So that's a fire newt, and you guys can see that this is a enormous model with a lot of details. I call it a model and not a miniature because at this point it is almost a model and not a miniature. It is extremely detailed and pretty well painted. Like, you could add gold if you wanted to. I could see how you could do more with it, but I think it makes such an impression when you actually look at it that it doesn't necessarily need additional colors or things. And they did a pretty good job with the way that they sort of did darker and lighter greens to make it really sort of pop. And I'm also going to turn it this way for you guys really quickly so you can see the top. So there's the top if you're looking straight down on it. Yeah, so pretty amazing. It practically doesn't fit on the display. All right, so we had such a huge model, and now we have a teeny tiny one. This is the Vegapygmy Chief. He wasn't with his compatriots because these are now being labeled as actual villains instead of monsters on the figure reference sheet. If you purchase the unpainted versions, these come in purple. The other ones come in green to help you identify which is which more easily. I happen to like the painted ones. So the Vegapygmy Chief, he has a hat, and his friends don't have a hat. That is the distinguishing factor between these two. Here is Valindra Shadowmantle. She is considered a villain, and I really love some of the detailing that they've done on around her waist for her belt, for some of the shading that they've done. They've done a pretty good job of making her look pretty cool. I want to use her in a couple other campaigns for other non-villain related things, but she does look very nice, and I like her staff slash glaive, whatever it is that she's holding in her hand. It has a shiny top, so I'm assuming it's some sort of weapon. But yeah, she looks really cool. I like the pose that she has as well. This is a giant four-armed gargoyle who is really cool looking, and I think it's a shame that they didn't do more with his paint job. He is very gray. You can tell that there's a little color differentiation on his chest, and he is four-armed, which is pretty neat. I've actually already used him as part of a D&D campaign that I'm DMing. He was a great stand-in for a devil that got summoned. So already multi-purposing using these guys, but he's pretty cool looking. I wish he had a little more depth to him, but for now he's still pretty awesome. And he is on the large scale size. So here is Valindra for size comparison. So he's a pretty big model. This is, I think, my favorite model in the entire box. This is definitely my favorite mini. This is Asarak, and he has really amazing translucent spells that he's casting. He looks so cool. He even has a spell coming out of his staff, as you can see. It is also clear, and then his cape behind him is sort of blowing in the wind, so to speak, and it sticks straight out from behind him, and I think that is so freaking cool looking. Definitely my favorite model. While it may not necessarily be my favorite paint job that they've done, it definitely makes up for it to have the translucent aspects to it. So I'm pretty impressed. His face is fine. It's not great. It's a little hard to see, but he's just okay when it comes to details. But he is the most detailed, molded model, I think, at least with multiple kinds of models, with the translucent as well as the solid. So it looks really cool. All right, and now we have Goralin. I'm probably saying that wrong. He is a four-armed gorilla creature, and he has a lot of great detail in his fur. That's really nice, and they did a pretty good job of dirtying it up a little bit. He has pretty amazing tusks coming out of his mouth as well. You'll notice that you can actually see the mold lines where they put him together. This is the only model that I've noticed it on and out of all of these, and if you were doing it yourself, you would probably have put filler in those cracks, but overall pretty nice. And they did a good job actually, if you notice, painting his toenails and his fingernails so that they stand out pretty nicely, but he looks really cool. So up next we have two Terrafolk. These are pterodactyl looking creatures. You'll notice that they're both sort of sitting off kilter. Their wings are actually longer than, or go further down than the base is, which makes them stand at a weird angle. I probably could bend them back. I just haven't. I want to make sure that I don't break them, so I need to like heat them up and do it. Similar to the giant four-armed gargoyle that we saw earlier, these guys are painted mainly just gray, and I think you could probably make them way more interesting if you were painting. These actually are the other ones that you can sort of see the where the model, the lines where the model comes, or the miniature comes together, and the different pieces. But it's less noticeable because they're natural joints, whereas on the Goralian, it was a little more, it took you out of it a little bit more. But they still look pretty ferocious. And so now we have our final villain of the box. This is Rosny. He is expertly painted. He's also the one who is on the front of the box, so he's probably pretty important. You can see that he has amazing molding done for his scales, and he has so many details. You could just sit almost for hours and look at how well he's painted. I think he probably is one of the best painted miniatures in the box, just for depth of color, for variation, for shading, for washes. He just looks so polished and well put together. Like I would hope that it would look this good if I did it. So I'm thoroughly impressed with this one. His sword is a little bent, which is a pretty easy thing to fix. But as you can see, he really just is a standout of all of the minis in the Tomb of Annihilation box, for sure. And last but not least, we now get to our heroes. These in the unpainted box come in blue, but in this case they are painted. So first up we have Kawasha, who is a human druid, and I love the way he looks. He looks so cool. I want to use him for everything because I love the color combination. I think he just looks really awesome, and I think his staff is really cool. He's just awesome looking. And there's a really nice detailing like around the bottom of his robes. He just looks like a really kick-ass druid. I'm really happy with the way that he looks. So here's the second hero in the game. This is Birdsong, who is a tabaxi bard. And they did such a nice job with the detail on the tabaxi, from the spots on the arms and on the face, as well as the stripes on the tail. There's some really, really nice detailing that happened on this model, for sure. And who doesn't love a bard? Everybody loves a bard. And it's really nice to see that the tail came through the traveling and the shipping just fine, so that's a good sign. And nice little pouches, some good details, definitely, for sure, on Birdsong over here. Next up we have Artist Climber. He is a human ranger. I feel like he is a stand-in for pretty much any bow shooting character who's ever existed ever, whether that's, you know, Aragorn or Oliver Queen. He is that character, so definitely multi-purposed for sure. I mean, he even has almost like a hood on his back. He is basically the Green Arrow. He looks really nice though. Very good painting job. And again, the bow survived any transit and he didn't come bent or anything, so that is good quality. But he does look pretty nice. All right, so this is the flying miniature that is in this box. This is a Shara, I'm gonna say it wrong. Yeah, whatever. This is a Shara. We're gonna keep it at that. This miniature is actually hovering off the ground, and they use the clear stand to keep it off the ground. You will notice, however, that the spear is bent backwards, and I'm going to need to fix that. That is supposed to be a spear that sticks up straight, and it is not. However, really truly the thing you notice are the amazing wings, and the wings on this miniature are pretty epic, and I would say that they are not only molded well, but they were painted fairly well too. I like the variation of color. Still not better than Rosny when it comes to that, and I would definitely say that there's some places that could be touched up. But amazing looking character. Definitely a hero that I would want to play just so that I could be this miniature for sure, because it's so cool looking. But yeah, I need to fix the spear before we get a chance to play. And then last but not least, this is Dragonbait, a Sorial Paladin. He is has a very nice sword in his hand. Everyone has this very green tone to them, and I think that has probably everything to do with the game. But yeah, he is not particularly detailed in any way, shape, or form, but he's a pretty standard miniature that you could use for a lot of things, I think, in the long run. You know, as an adventurer, if you have someone who you need to add in as an NPC or something like that, he would be really good for that. But he's also a hero in this game, so I will make sure that we give him his due. Alright guys, so you've now had a chance to see all of the painted premium miniatures that come in the box for Tomb of Annihilation. I was thoroughly impressed, plus the fact that we got 3 bonus fire newts in the box. I think all of them are very well painted and a very good quality. If you have the time to paint, of course you're going to paint. not everyone has the time or inclination to paint, so it's nice that they offer this as a option for people to purchase. It is much more expensive than just buying the regular base game with the unpainted ones, but it depends on your aesthetic, how you like to play, if you have time and willingness to paint more things. I'm really happy with the purchase because I've already been able to use some of them for other things, even though I haven't had a chance to play this yet. But yeah, so if you have any other questions or you want to see any of these minis again, please comment below. Let me know what you think. I'll be happy to post more pictures on Instagram or other places if you guys want to see one in particular close up again. And I am glad that everybody reached out to ask for this video because they are really cool looking miniatures. They really, really are. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching today. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.